of soul 1. The soul is further in itself incorporeal essence, and even when in body it by no means doth depart from the essentiality peculiar to itself. Its nature is, according to its essence to be forever moving, according to its thought to be self-motive purely, not moved in something, nor towards something, nor yet because of something. For it is prior to them in power, and prior stands not in any need of consequence. In something, furthermore, means space, and time, and nature. Towards something, this means harmony, and form, and figure. Because of something, this means body, for 'tis because of body that there is time, and space, and nature. Now all these things are in connection with each other by means of a congenital relationship. For instance, now, the body must have space, for it would be past all contriving that a body should exist without a space. It changes, too, in nature, and 'tis impossible for change to be apart from time, and from the movement nature makes. Nor is it further possible for there to be composing of a body apart from harmony. It is because of body, then, that space exists. For that by its reception of the changes of the body, it does not let a thing that's changing pass away. But, changing, it doth alternate from one thing to another, and is deprived of being in a permanent condition, but not of being body. For body, body, remains body. But any special moment of its state does not remain. The body, then, keeps changing in its states. And so, space is incorporeal, and time, and natural motion. But each of these has naturally its own peculiar property. The property of space is receptivity. Of time 'tis interval and number. Of nature it is motion. Of harmony 'tis love. Of body, change. The special nature of the soul, however, is essential thought, of soul, too. That which is moved according to the operation of the motion that doth move the all. For that the nature of the all supplies the all with motion, one motion being the one according to its one power, the other that according to its operation. The former doth extend itself throughout the whole of cosmos, and holdeth it together from within. The latter doth extend itself around it, and encompasseth it from without. And these go everywhere together through all things. Now the productive nature of all things supplies the things produced with power of reproduction, sowing the seeds of its own self, and having its becomings by means of moving matter. And matter being moved was heated and did turn to fire and water, the one being strong and active, and the other passive. And fire opposed by water was dried up by it, and did become earth born on water. And when it was excessively dried up, a vapor rose from out the three, from water, earth and fire, and became air. The four came into congress, then, according to the reason of the harmony, hot with cold, and dry with moist. And from the union six of these four is spirit born, and seed proportionate to the surrounding spirit. This spirit falling in the womb does not remain inactive in the seed, but being active it transforms the seed, and this being thus transformed, develops growth and size. And as it grows in size, it draws unto itself a copy of a model, one and is modeled. And on the model is the form supported, by means of which that which is represented by an image is so represented. Now, since the spirit in the womb had not the motion that maintaineth life, but that which causeth fermentation only, the harmony composed the latter as the receptacle of rational life. This life is indivisible and changeless. It never changes from its changelessness. It rolleth the conception of the thing within the womb, by means of numbers, delivereth it, and bringeth it into the outer air. The soul dwells very near to it. Not owing to some common property, but under the constraint of fate. For that it has no love to be with body. Wherefore, the harmony according unto fate doth furnish to the thing that's born its rational motion, and the intellectual essence of the life itself. For that this doth insinuate itself into the spirit, and set it moving with the motion of the life, of soul. 3. The soul is, then, incorporeal essence. For if it should have body, it would no longer have the power of being self-maintained. For every body needeth being. It needeth also ordered life as well. For that for everything that comes to birth, change also must succeed. For that which doth become, becomes in size. For in becoming it hath increase. Again, for everything that doth increase, decrease succeedeth. and on increased destruction. 4. Sharing in the form of life, it lives. It shares, also, in being through the soul. But that which is the cause of being to another, is being first itself. And by this being I now mean becoming in reason, and taking part in intellectual life. It is the soul that doth supply this intellectual life. It is called living through the life, and rational through the intellect, and mortal through the body. Soul is, accordingly, a thing incorporeal, possessing in itself the power of freedom from all change. For how would it be possible to talk about an intellectual living thing, if that there were no living essence to furnish life? Nor, any more, would it be possible to say a rational living thing, were there no ratiocinative essence to furnish intellectual life. It is not to all life that intellect extends. It doth depend on the relationship of body's composition to the harmony. For if the hot in the compost be in excess, he's light and fervid. But if the cold, he's heavy and he's dull. For nature makes the composition fit the harmony. There are three forms of the becoming, the hot, the cold, and medium. It makes it fit according to the ruling star in the star mixture. And soul receiving it, as fate decrees, supplies this work of nature with the proper kind of life. Nature, accordingly, assimilates the body's harmony unto the mixture of the stars, and co-unites its complex mixtures with their harmony, so that they are in mutual sympathy. For that the end of the stars' harmony is to give birth to sympathy according to their fate, of soul. 4. Soul, emin, then, is essence containing its own end within itself. In its beginning taking to itself the way of life allotted it by fate, it draws also unto itself a reason like to matter, possessing heart and appetite. Heart, too, is matter. If it doth make its state accordant with the soul's intelligence, it, then, becometh courage, and is not led away by cowardice. And appetite is matter, too. If it doth make its state accord with the soul's rational power, it then becometh temperance, and is not moved by pleasure, for reasoning fills up the appetite's deficiency. And when both these are harmonized, and equalized, and both are made subordinate to the soul's rational power, justice is born. For that their state of equilibrium doth take away the heart's excess, and equalizes the deficiency of appetite. The source of these, however, is the penetrating essence of all thought, itself by its own self, working in its own reason that doth think round everything, with its own reason as its rule. It is the essence that doth lead and guide as ruler. Its reason is as 'twere its counselor who thinks about all things. The reason of the essence, then, is gnosis of those reasonings which furnish the irrational part with reasonings conjecturing, a faint thing as compared with reasoning itself, but reasoning as compared with the irrational, as echo unto voice, and moonlight to the sun. And heart and appetite are harmonized upon a rational plan. They pull the one against the other, and so they learn to know in their own selves a circular intent,